Good morning. Getting started a little later than normal, about 5 minutes later. I did not do uh, the prep that I should have done last night, so I had to do that. I'm doing that this morning. So let's get this message pinned real quick. Let's go. Good morning, Wilo Gamer Pro. How are you? So let's do good morning. Back. Yeah, I noticed that. Back again to pin that. Pin that message. Okay. And then we're gonna go to Discord. All the usual housekeeping items. Let's see. Let's create an event. I honestly don't know if creating the Discord event is really worth it, but oh, whoops! I almost just ended the stream. Let's see. We're doing more Advent of Code stuff today. Probably some other stuff. Hopefully Advent of Code actually doesn't take us much time at all. Let's see, let's say 4:30, say 7. Yep. Let's add a cover image. All right, Discord event has been created. All right, the last thing I need to do that's housekeeping related. I casually opened one of your shorts notification. Notice you weren't live. Yeah, that's my bad. A little bit of a scramble to get myself situated this morning. I said I was gonna do AOC, but I think I will not start until tomorrow. That's totally fine. You can start whenever. You know, you could start in next July. You know, they keep the puzzles open forever. So you're really fine to start whenever you'd like to. Okay, so we need to, okay, I'm actually also going to adjust my layout here a bit. According to my wife, the edges of my screen get cut off and she doesn't like that. So I'm going to fix that. So how am I going to do that? I think I need to go I think we're going to slide this all. According to the internet's, about 60 pixels from the left is the safe zone. So I'm going to go here. Okay. Man, that's going to make my screen way more narrow, but so be it. So we've got that. And then we need to bring this off the edge 60 pixels. That's going to obviously cut my vertical screen a bit, which is fine. Let's see, crop needs to go right more. Like that. And then I'm going to do the same thing my camera. So we're going to go. I'm also going to edit my layout, my smart layout. But we're doing a bunch of homework stuff this morning, folks. So hang on. Good morning, Arvin. How are you? So we got to adjust my layout here. So how do I do that? Open Power Toys. Stream. And then we're we're gonna edit this. We're gonna bring this in. Probably another, like right there, maybe. Like right there. Save. Okay, so let's see how that works now. It's still cut off. Did I not save it? What the hell am I doing? Basically, I want my terminal to be about that width. And I want this to be about that width. Okay, then I need to adjust my camera. Good morning. Good morning, bro. It's Voldemort. How are you, man? It's been a minute. Lilo Gamer Pro. But we can see what you write and search on the web, and the vertical layout isn't that wide, though. Yeah, we'll still make it work. Though she showed me what it looks like on her phone, and I didn't like how it looked on her phone, so I'm just gonna allow myself to have a little bit more safe zone. I mean, I know all phones have different aspect ratios, so getting it right on every phone is difficult, but I wasn't happy with the way it looked, so we're gonna fix that. So we're gonna go camera, and I guess we have to skew this down, right? So let's go camera. It's good. I've been busy as always, but I found a new hobby. What's your new hobby, man? Tell us all about it. I'd love to hear it. Excuse me. That's good enough. So then what we need to do is we need to scale the camera down just a tad. This was all stuff I should have done last night and I didn't, so blame me. What's interesting about this is this kind of stuff is difficult for me because I kind of obsess over the layout to where it's like it's got to be just perfectly right, and it really doesn't need to be, but Okay, so now we're gonna go, where's the scrolly thingy? Let's see, scrolly thingy's gotta go up. Look, not left, it's gotta go up. Up, 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 up. It's only, what the freak? It's so weird, it's only going in one direction. Yeah, I think that's good enough for now. The lines change counter needs to be moved around. Yeah. Okay. That's probably fine for today. Lines change counters off for today. I actually think, yeah. All right, I'm gonna check what this looks like on my phone real quick. You completed Pablo Uno. Nice, Renee. Very good. I have yet to do anything code related. I've been fussing over my stream all morning. Guitar, nice, nice. So Voldemort, did you take lessons or did you teach yourself? I have a brother, two brother-in-laws, or I guess he's now an ex-brother-in-law because my wife's parents got divorced, but they both taught themselves how to play the guitar. Okay, yeah, I think that looks better. Definitely on my phone, the edges aren't cut off as much. It's still not perfect, but it's never going to be perfect. We're working on a little tiny screen. I'm not even going to worry about doing the other scene. Okay, so today's plan is to do the second part of day one. So what branch are we on here? Yeah, second part of day one, and then some other stuff, which I have yet to figure out what that other stuff is, but that's the plan. I found a simple course on the internet. Nice. Yeah, the internet rocks, doesn't it? It's fantastic. Steven, are you growing a stash? No, but does it look like it? Maybe I just need to shave. I shaved on Sunday, I think. So if it looks like I need to shave again, then maybe I need to. Could also be the light. I don't have the greatest light in here. It kind of casts a shadow over my face. All right, let's do another tab for running our tests. So we'll go Advent of Code 2025, and then we are going to go run tests CMD, or not go run tests, go test CMD 01. So this is part uno. Man, this is taking a minute to run. I guess Go's getting warmed up. There we go. So that passes. So now we need to do part 2. So apparently Pablo says part 2 I'm in a good place for, but obviously we're kind of taking him for his word on that one. So this could remain to not be the truth. So we'll see. So let's go over to the Advent of Code website. Why can I not? Advent of Code Part 1, Day 1. Alright, here we go. Is audio okay for everyone, or is it on my side? Does the audio sound low? It's fine for you? Yeah, let me know if more people think the audio is fucked up, let me know. I was tinkering with tinkering with a lot of things in OBS just then, so it's entirely possible I screwed something up. How do you make a window smaller in NeoVim? Decrease width is this one. There we go. Dude, this is painful to... I just have to spam this into the keyboard? Oh, this is painful. There we go. Okay, so this is our main solution. This is our main test. Volume level's a bit low. Okay, give me 1 sec. Give me 1 second. Let's see. I didn't change the volume on my mic, but let me look on my... How about... How about now? Is that better? A little better? The start to this stream has been very chaotic. And the only one to blame for that is me. All right, part 2. You're sure that's the right answer, but the door won't open. You knock, but nobody answers. You build a snowman while you think. Of course, because, like, why wouldn't, you know, because when you need to think, you build snowmans. As you're rolling the snowballs for your snowman, you find another document that must have fallen into the snow. Due to newer security protocols, please use password blah 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 until further notice. Good morning. Hi, Stephen. Hope everything is going well with you. Yeah, everything's going good. Hey, man, I can't remember. I'm so sorry. I know you told me what your name was, and I completely forgot. I can't read the Arabic of your username. I think it's Arabic. But I think you've told me before what to call you, and I completely forgot. I really apologize for that. I'm doing well, man, though. It's good to see you again. It's been a minute since I've seen you in my stream, so good to see you. Hope life is going well for you as well. You remember from the training seminar that method something or other? Muhammad, that's what it was. Muhammad. Good morning, Muhammad. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Arvin. You have a better memory than me. Okay, it actually means you're supposed to count the number of times any click causes the dial to point at 0, regardless of whether it happens during a rotation or at the end of one. Following the same rotations as in the above example, the dial points at 0 a few extra times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so in this example, the dial points at 0 3 times at the end of a rotation. plus 3 more times during a rotation. So in this example, the new password would be 6. Be careful, if the dial were pointing at 50, a single rotation like R1000 would cause the dial to point at 0 10 times before returning back to 50. I think I think what they're saying is that so let's imagine, just so that I know you guys probably, some of you have already solved this, so forgive me. I'm not explaining this because I think you guys don't understand. It's more about me just, I'm rubber ducking out loud. So what they're saying is essentially that, let's say I have a direction of L 200, right? What they're saying is basically, well, you're going to go 50 left. So you're going to go 50 left, which is going to take you past 0. Then you go 50 more, right? Then 50 more. Now you're going past, now we've gone 150. So we've gone past 0 now twice. And what in our previous solution, we only cared if this thing like landed on 0 at the end of the turn. And now what we're saying is that we would actually care that it went through twice. Even if it landed back on 50, we'd still care that it went through 0 twice. Okay. So I think actually my solution to part 1 I think I can actually just adjust my solution to part 1 and it solve. I say that. Okay, let's go ahead and add a test here. So it'll be the same exact test as this, only it's going to be down here. Oh, you could read his name? That's hilarious, Arvin. I thought it was just because you remembered, but you can actually read that language. That's funny. 100 more. What are you saying there, Renee? Are you trying to give me hints? No hints. No hints. Let's see. So we have test solve part 1 with example. Steven, did you use mod in your first solution? I haven't. Right now it's just brute force looping. Pablo sent me a little snippet of code that he said he thinks can work for modding. But right now I'm just looping over. So maybe if we get this solved, we can move my solution to use mod, because we'll have tests, so we can just tinker with the math. I thought there was some math that would work, but I just thought the looping thing was easier to think about at the moment. So I went with the easy one. Solve part 2 with example input. Oh, you didn't do part 2 yet? Nice. Yeah, part 2 is... Part 2, I think this was a good... I know a lot of people, I was reading online yesterday after we did part 1, a lot of people were saying that they felt like this was a super easy day, which I guess it kind of was, but it also felt sort of tricky. You know, like it felt like one of those things that you could read that problem, try to speed run a solution, and get caught with some like edge cases and bugs. So. Good morning, Pablo. We have not made the coffee yet, so we still have to make the coffee. Coffee is coming. Well, we're gonna kind of get part 1 or part 2 kind of set up, and then before we solve it, we'll go make some coffee. So let's do solve part 2, and for now we'll just make them separate methods. They might not need to be that way. We could also pass in a Boolean flag or something, but I'm just going to make them separate methods. Excuse me. Pablo, no, the speedrun actually works. Yeah, no, for me it would have not worked. I would have gotten caught up by the looping to get rid of the overflow or the like. I don't think I would have thought of the modulo, and I think if I had thought of the modulo, then I would have implemented it wrong. But yeah, I thought it was a good first day. You know, if it was your first time doing admin of code, you probably weren't overly intimidated. There was no fancy algorithms. Felt like the right type of problem for the first day. Pablo said it was definitely too easy. I don't know. I think it was the right difficulty level. If you're someone brand new, you know, trying to get into it and participate, we they didn't try to like melt your face. Good morning, Inspire. How are you? I'm doing well, man. Yeah, we're just getting our day started. We were tinkering around with the stream setup a little bit, and then now we're getting set up to solve part 2 of day 1, which for anybody else who's doing admin of code, I'm going to be behind on all the days. I'm not going to stick to like 12 puzzles in 12 days. I'm going to do 12 puzzles in 24 days. It just was my decision. I wanted to do a day for every day, or a puzzle for every day of Advent. And I think too, once we get into the more difficult problems, that will make it more manageable for me to actually complete them. Inspire. I'll say day 2, part 2 was the only one worth spending time till now. Really? You already solved day 2. Nice. Pablo, I'll do day 2 and tell you how that goes. Yeah, dude, I'd love to hear it. Yeah, I'm having so much fun watching people's videos and reading people's solutions online. It's fun to see how people like think about the problems differently, you know? There's some wildly terse solutions in the Reddit threads for each of the days. People post some wild looking things, and I'm like, how did you guys get so freaking smart? All right, so this is not enough, right? So this is checking where the dial ends at the end. So this is not enough. So basically, I think Pablo mentioned yesterday that turn should return a value, but I'm actually thinking I might want to have a counter on the actual dial. So the dial keeps track of how many times it touches 0 when it turns. As I think what I want. So if we go to our dial implementation, I think what I want is basically we know here so every time we have to do this, we know we've touched 0, and every time we have to do this, we know we've touched 0. Now, what this doesn't necessarily account for is if we end on 0. Or does it? So maybe at the end we could just okay, I have an idea. So let's go back to our dial test. Well, we don't even need our dial. We don't even need to add it to dial test. We can just do it with the part 2 test. So essentially what I'm looking for is in part 2, instead of doing this to get my total, what I would like to do is I'd like to have something that is basically just dial dot what we call this? Like zero count or something, or like number of resets. I'm just gonna call it zero count, like that. Now that's obviously not gonna compile. So we go here and we say, okay, this now has an interface which is zero count, and then this struct now has a zero count int, like this, and we'll just initialize that to 0, and then we'll need to implement that, which will be just kind of the similar method as this. It's basically a getter. It's basically a getter for the private field is what it is. 0 count, like that. And so now that should compile, but if we run our tests, they're obviously going to fail. So if we do this, it fails. Also, why is it printing everything out? That's new. Also, my viewer count has broken. So let's cd to your account fetcher, remove the token response, .NET index.cs. I was absolutely horrific solutions. I'm sure your solutions weren't that bad. I mean, sometimes, and at the end of the day, who matters as long as you get the problem right? You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Who cares how pretty they are? I miss speedrunning, not gonna lie. Somehow I got very humbled today. Switched back to Python. Yeah, I'm not a speedrunner. I just enjoy the thinking and the tinkering, and it's like being in your workshop, you know, and just enjoying drinking coffee and tinkering on things. Unfortunately, I think lots of peeps are using AI. I don't know. So this is how I feel about the AI usage. I think the AI usage is, it's what do you want to get out of it, right? Do you really want to challenge yourself, or are you using it to facilitate some learning? Like, are you trying to understand what data structures and algorithms this problem is trying to teach you about? You know what I mean? Are you using AI are you using AI like a Chronos, or are you using AI more like a facilitator of your learning, right? If it was me, I think if it was me, and this may happen at some point, I think my approach will be, I think you should always try to attempt to solve the problem yourself, give it your best effort. But if you get really, really stuck, I think then there's nothing wrong with going and trying to figure out why you're so stuck, right? Like, there's somebody out there on the internet that can help upskill you because you found a gap in your ability. So I'm of the opinion that there's nothing wrong with going, if you've made a good faith effort to try it, I don't think there's anything wrong with then going to the Reddit thread or asking Gemini or somebody to help you understand where you've gone wrong. Otherwise, you never get any better. You know, from year to year, you don't learn anything. If every time you get stuck, you just give up. Day 2 is harder. Wonderful. We have things to look forward to. Renee, advent of code is about finding the solution at all costs. Put your blood on the ice. Oh man, this is getting intense. If you're doing AOC with AI, you're dumb. Yeah, I mean, if you're just outright copying and pasting the problem into your LLM, like, that seems dumb. Inspire. I mean, there's a reason the subreddit is there. If I get stuck, I go in there. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah. It's like buying a set of Legos and hiring someone to build it for you. Yes, it's like hiring a task rabbit. I used AI for reference. I don't think there's any. I'm not gonna say that like you shouldn't. I think my only opinion is you should make a good faith effort to try it yourself, and then if you find it's beyond your current abilities, there's nothing wrong with then using Reddit or using an LLM to try to help you understand what you did wrong. No one touches my Lego sets. Yeah, I would agree with you there, Renee. Just avoid the copying pasting. Tired of. Are there any benefits of doing AOC in this automated era, though? Probably beyond just like challenging yourself and having fun. Probably not. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why leak code as part of interviews is dumb as fuck now. Like when you have tools like LLMs and you're asking people leak code questions, that's so dumb. Like if if you need something that can solve leak code questions for your company, well, just pay for ChatGPT or Gemini, you know. So I think this is more about fun. This is more about challenging your current knowledge, your current skills and ability. That I think that's what that this is about. Tired. It's not necessarily about like usefulness, you know, or like necessarily benefit. The benefit is only to yourself, you know. See you, Inspire. Have a good day, man. Good morning, MXDev. I know I answered a couple of your questions, but I missed I missed you entering the chat. Creatives, does C Sharp have more concepts than other languages? No, I don't think so. Creatives, I think C Sharp's very similar to a lot of other languages. I think C Sharp's feels very similar to TypeScript in a lot of ways. I think it feels similar to a lot of other statically. Farhan, thanks for subbing. Appreciate it. I think it feels very similar to a lot of other languages. I think C Sharp's kind of an interesting language, at least in the last couple years, because it's historically been very much a object-oriented language, but they've been adopting more and more pieces of the functional paradigm, which is kind of cool, right? So now, you know, in TypeScript or JavaScript, you've kind of always been able to write sort of functional versus object-oriented code, like just depending on what your preference is. Um, and C Sharp is slow. Like one of the things that's supposedly coming in the next version of C Sharp is union types, kind of like how you have those in TypeScript. So they're going to bring that to C Sharp. It's interesting because the language is, while it is still very much object oriented at heart, it's sort of trying to support the good parts of other paradigms, which I love. Right, that this idea of take the good, leave it, leave the bad, I think is a good thing. 10K today? What do you mean 10K today? The funny part of AOC is when I get examples upside down. In 2024 day one, I did one number by ones instead of comparing the two lists. That's frustrating. Inspire, we have a C Sharp supporter among us. Dude, C Sharp's wonderful. If you're here, and you don't like C Sharp, you might be in the wrong place. Chioski. Oh my gosh, use convex too. Let's go. Yeah, convex is like, dude, convex is like black magic in terms of like backend. It's black magic. Yeah, I love that. I love that service. Love their product. Love everything they're doing. If I was gonna like start a business or a SaaS business today, I think I would probably use convex as the backend. There's just so much that you get out of the box that you would want for like a really interactive rich client side web app that it just works with convex. It just works. The reactivity of it is just next level. 10K run, nice, dude. You're killing it. Have you found a way to host clusters to make it more scalable? No, I've not done anything beyond having a single instance, single self-hosted instance. You can do you can do you can the store, so like the actual backing store, you can use a distributed database. So out of the box, it uses SQLite. So if you wanted to have it use some distributed database and then set up multiple instances that all talk to the same store, they'd have to talk to the same database, the same file storage, and then you would probably need some sort of proxy in front of your instances to handle like load balancing across the different convex instances. But it seems like it would be doable, but I've never done it. I think if you want scalability, you're much better just going with their hosted option, right? Like I think the self-hosted option is great for getting started, but I probably wouldn't try to self-host and scale like an app like a if you if you actually need scalability, like you have hundreds of thousands of users, I would just use their cloud offering. you know. Hey, you inspired me to stick with Golang. It's much faster than NeoVim with LSP and formatting, not like Python. Thank you. Hey, great man. I think Go's good too. I probably am gonna abandon Go after Advent of Code, but it's been a lot of fun to work with it. Inspired, yeah. It's more about your mental strength for me than physical. Oh yeah, 10K. Being a runner in general requires mental strength to have to get up and run like that every day. No, thank you. Yeah, but I'm not much of a runner myself. I love Convex. I'm a student right now. There's no good options for work, and finding out about Convex made me believe I can become a fast freelancer. Yeah, you could definitely use Convex for freelancing. I mean, you could also, and it could be simple, right? It could be very simple stuff. Just set up a backend per client. I think I don't know, people always try to do weird multi-tenant stuff, and I just think maybe it's better just to have a single machine, single $5 machine per client, and just isolate everything to single instances. I think most of your clients probably don't need massive scale, and if they ever do, if you build something for them that does need massive scale, then just advise them that you need to move them to the cloud hosted version. Like they should be able to pay whatever it is. It's like, I think the starting plan's like $10 a month or $8 a month or something. Good morning, NG Tontai. All right, we need to implement our solution, but first, coffee. So let me go set up the coffee station real quick. I found a pretty interesting char to int way in C#. For what? For what, Renee? I saw a vid that Convex got like $22 million in funding, and they are going to do something about scaling. Oh yeah, they got a Series A or Series B or something. I mean, it's a great product. It's a great product. All right, let's see if this works. I'm gonna switch over to the coffee making station. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, you guys can still hear me, I'm guessing. I'm over here now, though. Hey, chat. Give me 1 second to switch out that card, because that's the wrong card. All right, let's go make some coffee. All right, the first things first. Gotta get some water. I think it's actually an Ethiopian coffee today. We were talking about that yesterday. Also, I can't see the chat right now. Give me 1 sec. All right, there we go. All right, so day 2, and I've got some serious bedhead going on. Day 2, let's see, day 2 is, where's the day 2 card? Day 2 is Ethiopian Shakiso. It says a female produced natural. It highlights both gender equity and excellence in the craft. Huh. So I'm guessing it's like a female-owned coffee farm or something. That's cool. All right, there's gonna be some loud noises when we grind this stuff up. To translate a char to an int variable, you can just subtract 0 from the char. What does Ethiopia have? Robusta or Arabica? I honestly don't know. I know that coffee, though, originated in Ethiopia. But I'm not sure. Oh, I need to weigh this out. I'm not sure what type of bean there is there. Tired of. I like the classic coffee. Classic. There's nothing wrong with classic coffee. I mean, I'll take any coffee over no coffee. But I do appreciate cool specialty coffee like this. It's interesting to see there's so much variety. All right, loud noises. Loud noises. Should really figure a better way how to look at chat. I don't know why, but the best products I have. Sorry, you mixed your comment went away. I'm jealous. What are you jealous about? Oh, performance. The best products I have were from female-owned businesses. They put more passion into their stuff. That's a fair take. I always tell people that I've always preferred having female bosses. I've felt like all my female managers have always been better leaders and better managers than all the men. Oh, that's the wrong size filter. That I've worked for, which is a funny take, but and it's kind of sexist towards the men, but it's just true. It's like, for whatever reason, or maybe I've just gotten lucky and had a lot of unlucky had a lot of bad male leaders and gotten lucky and had a lot of female leaders. Maybe it had nothing to do with the gender, but Stefan, isn't it hey, what's up, Stefan? Good to see you. Isn't it AOC day 2? It is, but I'm still on day 1. So I'm going to do one part of each puzzle a day. So even though it's 12 puzzles, I'm going to stretch them out to 24 days, which I think will make it actually more manageable for me in the long run because I'm not super fast. And I'm sure some of the problems are going to be quite hard. Dude, I love the smell of coffee. So good. Yes. I've also always felt like with the advent of code that some days part 2 is like a whole different problem than part 1 anyways. Like you can have a really good solution to part 1 and then they introduce some fuckery in part 2 that just completely blows things up for you. I have flown with Ethiopian Airlines before. They're pretty good, actually. Was surprised how good it is. I've never flown on that airline. I've only flown on Southwest and United, but I haven't flown very much in my life, so take that for what it's worth. All right, day 2 coffee. We'll have to find something cool to do with these coffee cards. Maybe we put that in the background of the stream or something. I love lamp. What are you doing? We're making coffee. So I have a, I don't think you can see it, but I have a advent calendar that's a coffee advent calendar. It's pretty cool. But basically every day of Advent, we get a new coffee from some place in the world. Some of them are single origin, some of them are blended. But that's what we're doing. Also, what is that on screen? What is even happening? Well, I love lamp. You're coming into this a little cold. So Advent started. Advent is the 24 days leading up to Christmas. And a lot of people do Advent calendars. That's where the Advent code comes from. The Advent of code idea comes from. And so I'm doing both a code Advent and a coffee Advent. So I decided to mix the two on stream. So that's what you're watching. The card is basically a description of the coffee that we're making. And the QR code there's a link in the description of the stream if you want to actually try it for yourself. I'm not sponsored by the company. I don't work with the company. I just appreciate their brand and their coffee. And so if you want to try it, you're welcome to. No pressure. Yeah, the coffee box is very cool. I put a post on YouTube in the post section of my channel where you can see the actual like designs up close, but the main design is like the tree design is like slick. I mean, the packaging, they knocked it out of the box. Minister of Defense, you sound like a proper coffee snob. So I'm not a coffee snob. I will drink any coffee over having no coffee. I appreciate good coffee, but I very much believe in an inclusive coffee culture. So you can drink your coffee however you like. You can make it however you like. It's completely up to you. You know, it's kind of the same way I am towards programming and coding tools. Like you should use the stuff you enjoy. So if you like milk in your coffee, great. If you like creamer in your coffee, do that. I don't understand Go, but can you summarize what you did to solve day 1? Oh yeah, for sure. When we get back to the desk, we can most definitely do that. Renee, it goes instant freeze dried, blended, single origin. Couldn't agree more, Renee. But that's that whole idea. Like, I'll take instant coffee over no coffee, right? So whatever you got, give it to me. By the way, when is Christmas? The 25th. The 25th is Christmas Day. Although now that you asked me that, now I'm second guessing myself. I'm pretty sure it's the 25th. Yeah, 25th. Stefan, black and salted. I salt my coffee sometimes now because of you. You were the one that turned me on to that. All right. Coffee time's almost over. Then we'll go back to code. Steven, take the family to Thailand. Flying is cheap nowadays. I don't know, man. Flying seems expensive. I booked a flight recently from Kansas City to Nashville, Tennessee, for work, and that was expensive. Ooh, you mixed that. That sounds delicious. Sounds delicious. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely make good instant coffee. You know, people sleep on it. I love Lamp. Lamp showed up in the chat. Was just so confused about what was happening on stream. All right, we got our coffee. Let's taste it. Yeah, that tastes like an Ethiopian coffee to me. It's very floral. What were the cranberry, vanilla, grapefruit, sweet tea? That's what the tasting notes were for this. I think I definitely get the grapefruit. It's like super, super floral. Okay, coffee time's over. We got what we came for. We're heading back to the desk. All right. Chat, come back here. Chat, come back into the office. Come on. Come on, chat. God, took you guys long enough. Yeah, it's a little acidic. Not terrible. It's definitely not like I have a shot of espresso that I've been drinking right next to it. I mean, it's wild the difference in flavor you can get from coffee. Oh, Pablo, you're struggling with day 2. Well, not struggling, but your answer's wrong. You'll get it, man. You're a stud. You'll knock day 2 out of the park. Waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning today to go to school was way less tiring than waking up at 7 a.m. for me for some reason. You know? I guess any given day. I've heard, I don't know how true this is, so don't quote me on this, but I've heard that the point at which you wake up in a given sleep cycle determines a lot about how you feel when you wake up. So like if you wake up in the middle of the sleep cycle, you'll feel way less tired than if you woke up at the end of the sleep cycle. Again, I could be speaking completely out of my ass there, but that's what I've heard. 199. This angle confuses me. You mean this angle? The normal angle? Or are you talking about the coffee angle? By the way, I had my first day at my new job yesterday. It was fun. I was going to ask you, Pablo, how did it go? Did you like your boss? Like your manager and all that? That, to me, those are like the number two things is like, or number one, number two things is one, do I like the person I report to? And then two is like the people I work with seem normal? Because I know you can't know them very well after just a single day, but like, do they seem normal? Tired of. I'm always tired. Makes sense. Makes sense. Renee, I love the new angle. Yeah, I don't know if we'll keep it through after advent of code, but I just wanted to bring you guys along with me on my coffee explorations. I live in Morocco. Samar Cafe Crema Espresso. Oh, that's the instant coffee you were talking about. Nice. Manager is cool. She's a nice person, cares about us devs. Hey, let's go. W for her. Yeah, we like it. It's funny you said so. Your manager's a she. All my last like 3 managers have been she's, and I gotta say I do like working for. I would much prefer to work for I think for a female manager over a male manager at this point. All right, let's see if we can try to figure out part 2 here. I know I'm kind of milking this for. But I'm not even going to say it, because if I say it, we're going to be stuck on this for 3 hours. So what we need to do is whenever we're turning the dial, we need to be keeping track of the 0 count, right? I know that if I'm inside this for loop, I've touched 0. Every time I hit the for loop, I know I've touched 0. So I think what we can do is we can just go 0 count plus plus and 0 count plus plus. Now, the part that I don't know is, does this capture landing on 0? I don't think it does. So let's go back to run our tests. Because we were just getting 0. The first time we ran our test, it failed. So we want to do go test. Hey! Okay, is there any way it's this simple? Okay, so that worked for the input. Or that worked for the example input. So let's see if it works for the actual input. So we'll do test solve part 2 with input. I'm putting my fake Christmas tree out tomorrow. Nice. We have our Christmas tree out. Yeah, we've had our Christmas tree out since the day after Halloween, I think. We're those people. Tired of the Ethiopian coffee is working well. It is working well. I've had like all of 3 sips, but damn, didn't it make solving this easy? Renee, working for a woman, careful what you wish for, bud. I'm telling you, I think girls make fantastic managers, fantastic leaders. I mean, guys can too. I mean, it's not really a gender thing. I just, for whatever reason, the last 3 really good managers I have been girls, and the last like 3 or 4 guy managers I had were not super great. It's not that they weren't great, it's just that like they didn't care as much about me and my career as they did about their own, right? Which I think kind of makes sense. Like, dudes tend to be a little bit more like ambitious. That's probably not right. I don't know, they tend to be just less touchy-feely. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's difficult. It's difficult to explain it without me sounding horribly misogynistic or horribly sexist. And I don't want to sound that way. I will just offer the anecdote I offered, and we'll move on. Good morning, Jose. How are you? I think it's Jose. I know you got an O at the end there, but we'll go with Jose. Yeah, all my previous bosses were assholes, except of course my current one. I mean, I've had bosses that were good bosses. Didn't mean I necessarily got along with them, though. You know, I mean, there's definitely that's something I've been trying to teach my son as he's been starting to play sports over the last 3 or 4 years. I've been trying to explain to them that the dynamic that he has with his coaches are a lot like the dynamics he'll have with a lot of authority figures he interacts with in his life, where you may not always agree with them, you may not always like them, but you do have to show them respect, you know, and you do have to recognize their position versus your position and be able to navigate that. I think sports are really great for teaching you how to deal with those types of relationships. Pablo, yep, my coworkers were all girls, and man, let me tell you, they were very attentive and very amazing at coding. Yeah, I don't want to like. I know both genders can have equal amounts of problems. It's just recently, my experience has been heavily skewed the way Pablo, or to what Pablo experienced. Yeah, I totally get what you mean, Pablo. We are on the same page. All right, this is going to be -1, and now we're going to run this on our other input and see if this works. So go. So that it should fail, but it should give us a number. 5967 seems reasonable, because I think the answer to part 1 was 1011, so I would expect this one to be higher. Don't know by how much, but it should be higher. Also, why are we printing? I must have a print line somewhere. Print. Oh, yep. Don't need that there. So we are 5967. Okay, do you think you did that on purpose? 5967? My kids would have got a good kick out of that. Alright, let's submit it. That's not the right answer. Your answer is too high. Okay, 5967 is too high. So then we should be able to update our tests. And we should say, if result does not equal expected, that's still fine. But result should be so too high, 59667. Too low. So result should be, if result is we at least know there's at least this many. So if result is less than or equal to, or result is greater than or equal to 5967. So we know we're looking for something in that range. Let's do too low, too high. Wanted, see, solve part 2 equals %d, wanted something between %d and %d. So we know we're looking for something in that range, right? Because it should be more than what was ended on, but according to their solution, it should be less than 5967. So where would we be counting when we shouldn't be counting? Maybe I misunderstood what they were asking for. So let's go back and look at the problem. Rockhulkate, what are you building? We're not building anything. We're solving advent of code problems. There's a description in the link of this stream. There's also here, I can also put it in the chat, AOC. It's basically like puzzles, like Christmas themed, holiday themed puzzles that are they're sort of like leak code in disguise, basically, but they're fun. So not building anything per se. I love lamp. Look above. Let's see. I want to complete part 1 on Python, but I can't really figure out what it means. Can any of y'all or Steven himself explain how I can complete it? If you want to do part 1, so basically the problem in part 1 is, if you look at the little diagram I have here, you have a dial, right? The dial points at 50 to start with, and then you're given instructions that move the dial to the right, or they move the dial to the left. And your job is to move that dial, right, according to those instructions. And anytime an instruction causes the dial to land on 0, you're going to increment a counter. And then whatever that count ends up being at the end of all your instructions is your answer. That's essentially what you're trying to execute with your code. That's part 1. In part 2, you're basically, instead of just counting the 0 whenever you land on it, you're counting the 0 when you actually go by the 0. I think that's what I might be wrong. So I'm gonna read part 2 again, because I feel like that's what I'm doing, but for some reason I'm wrong. Okay, following the same rotations as in the above example, the dial points at 0 a few extra times during its rotation. So I've covered all this. This works. The example input works. It's the real life input that doesn't work. But the problem is that I'm not counting enough. It's that I'm counting too many. So I think I'm going to do a little bit of debugging. Renee, it's modular math, yeah. I think I'm going to print this out. So if the D value is less than 0, subtract So am I trying to see if it actually points at 0, not that it passes by 0? Maybe that's my problem. So maybe I need to actually check here. So maybe what I need to do is maybe I need to actually check here like that. Also, Copilot, stop trying to help me. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe that's what they're asking for. So if the value is at 0 during the turn, then count it. Let's see what that does. Hopefully that brings it down. If it brings it down, then we'll try. So this says 628, I think is what it wanted. And solve part 2. Well, now we only got it once. Okay, so that's not the right answer. Okay, what have we done? Interesting. Wow. Okay, so someone said this was easy, and Steven can't do the easy one. So, admin of code is going to be very painful. You need Shinken. Are you overcounting or undercounting? I'm overcounting, according to them, Pablo. I'm overcounting. I think where most people are getting lost is with the remainder concept. Forget that. Just ask, I need to do mod 100 arithmetic. Give me the code for it. Yeah, but would modding though make this any... I think I can still use the solution I have right now. I think I can migrate this to mod to avoid having to loop so much, which Pablo sent me a little snippet of code that I'm going to try at some point. But first I want to try to solve this. In my head, I was like, I have my range where 0 and 100 is also 0. Yeah, 100 is also 0. That's a good way to look at it. Renee, I'm talking about part 1. Yeah, I think part 1. I think I can go back and modify it. Overcounting can be because you started at a 0 that you already counted. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna do some printf debugging to try to see maybe where I'm double counting things. So let's do print line. So we'll do format.println turning left past 0. Oh, we need printf. Oh, also we need to add a new line. So more than likely this is like an order of operations thing. Alright, we're gonna see a lot of stuff print out on screen here. I'm actually gonna cat this to a file. So we'll do go test this, and let's just redirect that to output.txt. And then we'll do notepad. Okay, so we turning left past 0. Okay. Oh, I probably should have printed the instructions too, shouldn't I have? Yeah, I probably need context about like what I'm coming from to where I'm going to. But somewhere I'm double counting. You should print the instruction that looks bad. Oh, you just said it. There's gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot there. So let's do turning. We'll do turning %s %d. So we'll say we're turning whatever direction. We'll say instruction dot direction, and then we'll do instruction distance like that. Whoops. Turning left 60. Yeah, I think I'm gonna print the before so I can follow what I start at and what I end at. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say yeah, so I'm gonna do turning. How do I want to do this? I want to capture the, okay, so this is going to be current value, which is the d dot value, and then the new value after we do all this. So that way I can just do a single line that says format dot print line or printf, and we can say turning direction distance from something %d to %d. So what will that be? That will be excuse me, that will be instruction direction instruction distance. This is where the vertical streaming really becomes a pain point. I can't like spread out. Yeah, and then we'll do the current value and then the new value, whatever we incremented it to. So this will be current value, new value, or d dot value. Then we'll copy that. We'll do that down below. See, somebody jinxed me when they said, Steven, this is so easy. Somebody, I blame chat. I blame everyone in chat. See how I take accountability for my incompetence? Kirk, are you having a data race problem? I don't think so. Pablo, it will not. LOL. Well, hold on, what? I want to get paid with money, not with a handshake. Yeah, true that, bro. Yeah, a handshake does not. They don't take payment for groceries at Walmart with Oh, I forgot to put a new line. They do not take handshakes as payment for groceries at Walmart. I've never tried, but I'm pretty sure they don't. Okay, here we go. So we're turning left 68 from 18 to 82. So I wonder if this is getting counted twice. So maybe this is the situation Pablo is saying, is if I land on 0, I'm probably counting it twice. So do I need to add like a condition in there that skips it? So there's one more. There's kind of one more piece of information I'm missing in that log statement. Is I probably want to know what the counter is now. So let's see. We probably want to do. Let's add this in parens, %d. D.0 count. I really should hook up a debugger, shouldn't I? I haven't set up a debugger for Go, but I really should, shouldn't I? Okay, so we're turning left 68, and we're coming from -18 to 82. Yeah, I feel like maybe we're, like what Pablo said, maybe we're double counting. The zeros. Well, no, that's the example. We want to just run the actual input. We don't want the example in there. So let's filter this to just be. Let's just filter this to be test solve part 2 with input. So let's just do this. So we'll do go test cmd 01. Yeah, 01. And then I think there's a run flag we can pass. Although it would help if I actually copied this correctly. And then we can output .txt. Okay. Not sure exactly what this is telling me, but at least I'm like getting a little bit of visibility into the problem. See you, Artwork Studios. Have a good day, man. Also, good morning, Kirk. I saw your message earlier, and I forgot to address you. So good morning. So if we're turning, the thing is if the value is already, okay, so what happens if the value is already, in my logic, let's look at the logic again, and let's say, okay, if the value, let's say if the value is already 0, we never hit this loop, right? Because it's only less than 0 where we enter the loop. If the value is greater than 99, then we hit the loop. So should this really be if the value is greater than 100? Well, 100 is technically 0, right? Or it should be. Yeah, 100 is technically 0. All right, time to drink coffee and think about this. So, does the example pass right now? So let's do test part 2 with example input. Does this pass at the moment? This passes. Okay, so I'm just curious. What happens if I do... Do you have logs everywhere you are updating the current value? I believe so, but the current value is just a placeholder there, so I can reference what it was before I increment or decrement it. Yeah, that fails because I need to detect that. 100 means you need to set it to 0. Is what you need to do. So it needs to be that logic. Damn, man. Everyone said this was easy, and sorry, I meant 0 count. Yes, I do. So yeah, these are the only 2 places where I'm modifying 0 count. I think there's some other condition I need to be checking for within this loop. I don't know 100% sure what it is, but there's some other condition where I shouldn't be counting, and I am currently counting. And it's only, that condition only shows up in my real input. And yeah, and I'm over counting. So there's some condition that I'm not smart enough to think about. My thought is what you said is probably correct. My thought is that I'm probably double counting a 0 occurrence. The problem is that I only enter these loops. I only enter this loop when I'm not at 0, right? So it's not possible for me to count it when this is at 0. It is possible for me to count this at 100. Pablo, oh, I see it. Oh shit! Don't tell me. Don't tell me. There is a condition though, I think, where the fact that Pablo sees it and I know he sees it, and I have to be disciplined and not. I know I can. I know I can figure this out. I'm confident. I'm at least capable enough to figure this out. The question becomes, if I'll be able to. If I'll have enough time. That's the question. If I have about an hour left, so it's like, can I figure it out in the hour that I have left? Pablo, I'm not sure anymore. uh, yeah. So okay, I'm just trying to think of what's the next thing I can do to move myself along, because right now I'm stuck. So what's the next thing I can do? I have a log of I can see the mutations that are happening. What's the other piece of information I can have? I guess the other piece of information I can have is, let's say we don't enter this loop, right? Let's say we don't, we don't, so let's do a log statement that's like, this is a turn, right? And this will be 0, or we'll say counting constant bills AI visuals. Now that's a username. So count, let's do 0 count plus like this. And then let's add another print statement that just happens, that just basically happens in general. Right? Because there are turns when we don't cross 0. So I think we need to kind of think about what's happening at every turn of the dial. I think we need to kind of see. Less than or equal to 0? I don't think so. Right? Because zero's on our dial. I think that would just count. We'd have more. Yeah, I think that would add. I think that would have more. Add more. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna add a print statement that's like dot print f, and it's going to say turn, and we're gonna say turning from %d, which is just whatever the current value is, by distance, or by direction, and by distance. I think is what we'll print there. We'll just say so what, turning from d dot value, instruction dot direction, and then instruction dot distance. Now let's try to log this out. This is gonna make, like, once we figure out what's happening, it's gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Oh, whoops, I forgot to put a new line. Dang it, I always do that. I'm being on my best behavior too right now. I haven't crashed out right now, but if I was doing this off stream, I'd probably already be crashing out. Okay, so we're turning from 40 by left 38, so we don't cross 0. Turning from 2 by L27, so this would take us, because we're going left. This is where we need like a physical dial. Okay, so this is our first increment, is on this turn. So that looks good. Let's see, turning from 55 by right 49. So if I'm at, yeah. Yep, okay. That's a count. Let's see, 0, turning from 95 by right 7. Yep, that would take you over 0. 12 by L44. Why is the count at 7? So it's at 7, I guess, because of all the previous turns. Yeah, the 0 count is right here. This is the 0 count. Is in the parentheses. Also, chat, if I miss any of your messages, please forgive me. It's just I mean, y'all get it. I just don't want you to think that I'm ignoring anything you're saying. Oh, you grabbed one. Yes, yeah, sorry, I scrolled down too low. I think I scrolled down too fast. So 2. So this is right. So right now I think we're counting correctly. The 0 count logs from is wrong. Turning left 12 from -7 to 93. Oh yeah, what is this? Shouldn't be. It should be whatever this is, shouldn't it? Turning from %D. That's where's that coming? I don't even know where that's coming from. That's coming from current value, which is just capturing the D value. Oh, because this is after the from that's printed in the 0 count is after we decrement. Yeah, we're correct. Yeah, that's probably a better. We're not turning. We're correcting. Yep, that's a better way to describe what's happening there. So turning and then turning. So I guess it should be correcting. So correcting %D to %D. we have instruction, or we don't need the, we don't need any of this. We just need the current value. We just need the current value and the D value, the new value. So let's rerun that. Oh, whoops. I forgot to fix the statement down below. So far, though, so far the logs don't, though, show me anything that looks odd. Basically, the number we see here needs to always be above 99, right? Or below 0. Okay, so here's one. Is this an example? No, that's correct. Look for 0 or 100 outside of the 0 counts too. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Maybe that's what we need to hone in on. So turning from 0, I think it's a sequence like this. Hold on. Turning from 0 by R95, that 0 was not counted. Okay, turning from 0 by R. Turning from 49 by 49. Yeah, so it wasn't counted. So I wonder if I wonder if it's kind of what Renee was saying. Should we actually be? I mean, it's going to add more, but this should count, right? Somewhere in here it should count, because we went by it. And then I think there was one that I saw down here where I don't think we should have counted it, maybe. Yeah. And then there's an example here where I'm not sure this should have... It looks like this got counted too many times to me. So am I just using the wrong bounds for my loops? Is that the real crux of the problem here? That this needs to be less than or equal to 0, and this needs to be greater than or equal to 100? Yeah, I'm wondering... Good morning, honey. Supposedly this is an easy problem according to chat, and I've been stuck on it for like 45 minutes. See you, Artwork Studios. If I'm still here when you get back, but if I'm not, you know. So if I do less than or equal to 0, this is definitely going to increase the count. And then greater than or equal to 100. This is kind of me flying blind. I don't actually totally understand why that would be right. So that, yeah, that's more 6, 4, 6, 7, which is what I would expect because we're including more occurrences into the bounds. I'm pretty sure when I submitted my answer, it said I was too high. I should have left the page up, but I'm almost 100% certain it said I was too high. Yeah, less than or equal will leave your counter at 100, which is exactly okay. Yes, so that's 100% what I was thinking. Now you're saying it needs. So you're saying, but you were saying okay. So let's see if what was the case that we thought didn't get counted? This one, right? So let's look for this again. Have you unplugged it? No, we have not. We have not tried turning it off and turning it back on. That's probably what we need to do. Which is, I mean, it's actually like 10 out of 10 advice. It almost always works. Hello, Creative Web. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, let's try to. This is definitely gonna be more. It's the same amount. Or did I not write out my change? Maybe I didn't write out my change, but it's the same amount. Yeah, it's the same amount. So what's but let's put this into the output. And let's take a gander for that same instruction set. Correcting 0 to 100. Well, that's not right. Right? That's not right. We should never correct 0 to 100. Correcting 0 to 100. Yeah, we should never correct 0 to 100. That's wrong. So I don't think that loop logic's. I think that loop logic is right. I think it's some condition in the loop. Because right now I'm making a decision based on the value after I move it. So after the turn, right? I'm checking. Let's see, but you do need to count. Count, don't correct. Okay, so you do need to count it? Okay, so it's something. I'm with Kelsey. Try unplugging and plugging it back in. I'm gonna. Yeah, that was a fantastic. That was a fantastic message. We should use it as our pinned message. I'm a Padawan. I'm listening. But I don't understand, why do you have to correct from 100 to... So turning... Oh, okay, yes. Okay, I understand why. I understand why. Because essentially, if something's pointing at 100, it's pointing at 0. D dot value is greater than or equal to 0. Are you sure? I don't... Yeah. But now we're counting way more. So we're still counting too many though. That's still a problem. Now we have 6,000 and something. We were at 5 something. We had a failure to get the... Whoops, stop running that to the output. I want to print that to the console. So we're at 6,467, which is too high. Just add that after d dot value. I know. Just that, I know, just lower it. I mean, what's the problem here? Just if the number is too high, just make it smaller. Just make it a lower number. I'm curious, does the example input still pass with the change we made? Not .NET. Go. Yeah, this one. Does this pass? See, that doesn't pass anymore. The example breaks. If d dot value input and then your for loop. Oh. Yeah, I'm not actually factoring in the distance, am I? So what you're saying is right here is you're saying I should check after I subtract off the difference if the distance left me at 0. So it would be if d dot value but doesn't that seem like it's counting 0? D dot value is less than or equal to 99. Why does it seem like you're always right? I feel like that's backwards. Pablo, I give up. Oh no. Let's see. See, that's wrong too. Yeah, there's something not right about that. So what if I did... Yeah, count 0, don't correct it to 100. Yeah, see, that makes sense. So you're saying if I land on if d dot value is the problem though I guess that I'm still stuck on is we're high. And what we're doing right now is we're obsessing over figuring out what we're not counting. And what we should be focused on is what we are that we're counting too many. There is some condition where we shouldn't be counting. That's the part that I'm stuck on in my mind, that I'm trying to think about. While you guys are thinking about it, in my mind, I'm thinking like, what's the condition that we're including that we shouldn't be including? So you're saying, hey, if this brings you to 0, don't correct it, count it. Somehow I fucked up my. Okay, so hold on. Can I get back to? I want to get back to the example working. Okay, so this works for the example. So what is the edge case? See you, honey. Love you. I'll see you in a little bit. I'll be up there in probably 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so. Probably you're not even sure if you're overcounting, but I think I am. Okay, so let's. I know the answer I put in there earlier was 5697, and they told me that was. I'm pretty sure they told me that was too high. But we can double check that. It was definitely 5967 because I made that joke that was like 6, 7. Wait, add the 0 that you commented and let's fix the example. Okay, so we can do that. So let's do. I like how 6, 7 is what helped me remember that I hadn't. Whoops. 0. That's 0 count. Dial. That's where I was. Sorry. So you're saying leave this in here and run this again. Okay. So here's our logs. Oh, we also need to print when we're incrementing up here. So we should say let's do turn format dot print line turn 0 count plus plus value at 0. That'll just help distinguish those counts from the other ones. Oh. Okay, so here we increment it because we crossed over, right? So we went from 0 to 68, and because we're having to correct, we know we went over 0, so we increment it. Here we're going from 82 to 30, then we go 52. We go from 52, which that would bring us to 100. So we need to correct from 100 to 0. Yeah. So plus plus. Then we turn from 0 left 5. Yeah, so this is getting counted twice, right? Because it got counted here once on correction, and then we were already at 0, right? And we went back the other direction. That shouldn't. So this is a double count because it's effectively the dial's effectively like it. You know what I mean? How do I say that? It went to 0, but it didn't ever go back. It just moved off of it. turning from 55, 95 to 60. So now we're correcting from 155 to 55. Yep. Then from 55. Yeah, and then we do it again here. Yeah, then we do it again here too. Okay, so what is that condition? Basically the condition is we're at 0 when we make our move. Yeah. The issue is starting at 0, moving left. Okay. So where do we move left? We move left here. So we should just not be doing. We shouldn't be doing anything here, right? We shouldn't be. If we're moving left and the value's at 0, we shouldn't be counting. We should just be returning. What? That seems like such a specific. No? You don't think what? But why not? We're turning left and we're at 0. The issue is not after you move, it's before you move. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep. I see what you mean. Yeah, I keep forgetting that this is happening underneath the if statement. But we still have to do the thing is though, if we don't. No. Yeah, but what you just said is effectively what I wrote, right? Return is the same as subtracting one. We're just not adding it. Yeah, I'm happy to try. To me, it looks like it's the same thing. I don't understand. In your head, I don't understand it. To me, it looks like we're doing the same thing. And yeah, that didn't work. You could land at 0 from a move, right? Yeah, I'm completely derailed from following your train of thought at this point, Pablo. This is the beginning of Steven crashing out. So you're saying up here, you just want to say, you're saying you think the solution is just up here is d dot value 0, and then if that's the case, you're going to subtract off a value to offset whatever broken logic is down below, which to me seems wrong. This doesn't seem right. This seems like the wrong solution. To me, the right solution seems like figuring out something in there. It's still not getting me there. I don't... Yeah, I'm not seeing. Only before you move left. It seems wholly broken. Alright. There we go. That one passed. Now let's try it on the real input. We want test solve part 2 with example. Yeah, we want that one. Go test with input. Oh, sorry. That's because it is what you're. It is in this range, so that's good. So now we want to change this back to what we had, which was we want expected to be let's add another check here. So we'll say expected is going to happen after our -1. I still don't understand that need for a very explicit check at the top of that loop. It seems like there's a way for me to not need that. Result does not equal expected. Yeah, this. Just print that down below like that. This will be input.txt. This will be. You can figure out how. Yeah, but see, I think that's the problem. Is like I think that's where my frustration comes from. Is because I think y'all are trying to get to the right answer, and I think all I care about is getting to the right answer, but feeling good about how I got there. And right now, I don't feel good about how I got there because I don't understand why that's necessary based on the logic I had originally. You know, it's like implementing a fix to a bug when you don't fully understand the bug. I think that's why I don't. 5849. 5849. Let's see. You guys can't give me this star. This star goes to Pablo. Now my answer is too low. Okay, so at the very least we narrowed the range. So it should be between 5849 and it should be between 5849. So we know it should between these two. I mean a win is a win, right? A win is a win. Okay, so we got 5849. We want something between. Whoops! I didn't fucking. Oh, this should be. I don't know why I don't have those numbers. I'm not even using those variables. Those would be too high. There we go. Those would be 5849. It's got to be something off with my dial limits. It's got to be something with my dial limits. I also love how everyone said this was so fucking easy, and I am just struggling out of my mind. So what is that? We're like, we have like 100-point delta. Yeah, 100-point-ish delta. Yeah. Let's see. Dialed new. We take our turn. I kind of feel like I need to start writing some test cases and just start to chip away at this. I'm definitely not going to finish this before the end of the stream, but I feel like I need to start just so we know, we definitely know we're over counting when we're at 0. So if, okay, so all I'm gonna write some things that should be true. I'm gonna basically say, I'm just gonna write some stuff that should be true based on the current implementation that works for the example problem. Okay, so we never get here unless d dot value is 100 or more. We never get here. Never get here unless d dot value is -1 or less. Okay. Now, it's entirely possible that when we enter this portion, it is possible we take our turn. Oops, no, I don't want the method. It's entirely possible we take our turn when we are at 0. Which I think is the case that's fucking us up the most. So if we're at 0, right? I don't think that matters. I don't think there's any case, because if we're at 0, the other thing I should say is D should never, actually, hold on, let me just make sure that's the case. So if d dot value is greater than 0, no, less than 0 or greater than 99, somehow we've gotten into an invalid state, so we should panic. Invalid dial state. That should never happen. I'm trying to do that like in a C#. Never shall you pass. That should never happen, ever. Which I don't think it does, but just to... that never happened. So we are correcting in controlling the bounds of the dial correctly. So that okay, so we can rule out that. Okay. D dot value is always 0 to 99. Now, if we are, and you're also landing specifically at 0, not counting those. Your music sounds like I'm playing a cozy game. Yeah, do you like my music, honey? I like my music. That's the kind of vibe I wanted for the stream. Was like a cozy coffee vibe. But I need a better background for my camera. That's more like coffee shop vibes. Carl, why are we coding the terminal? We're using NeoVim, Carl. That's what we're using. We're using this. It's an editor. It's like a terminal-based editor. Sorry, I know chat. Sorry if I have questions. I apologize. I've been kind of crashing out. Pablo's been trying to keep me on the rails. But yeah, it's a terminal-based editor, Carl. If you're interested, my NeoVim configs are here. NeoVim configs are there. I just put them in the chat there. If you're still here, Carl. I don't know if you're still here, but if you are. Yeah, a coffee shop kind of thing going on in the background. That'd be pretty fucking baller. Okay, so now there is a possibility here, which is what Pablo keeps talking about, which I'm an idiot and didn't understand. But once we make our move, right? So after we decide which direction we're going, we then make our move, right? So it's entirely possible that here we are at 0, and it's also entirely possible that here we are at 100, right? Which 100 is basically the equivalent of 0. Or the equivalent of 0. Now, the difficult part is when we're at 0 here, we never enter the loop. Yeah, and 100 does get accounted for because, like Pablo said, down here in the loop, we actually hit 99. So this should, if we're at 100, we should count it when we correct. This is counted. This one up here, though, is not. So if we are at 0 here, we don't really want to fix it up. Right? There's nothing to correct. Yeah, there's nothing to correct, but we do need to count it, which is where we got Pablo's suggestion of d.value equals 0. Hey, you need to make sure you increment that count. Right? Which is what put us on the higher bounds. Now, I think that does, in fact, though, break the example, right? So that does, in fact, break the example, which then, or I think it does. Yeah, so in this case, now we're getting 2 additional counted, which is, to me, is weird. Which, to me, is weird. That's weird. So why is that? Why do we get 2 additional counted? Oh, whoops, I need to print that. So now we're hitting... Okay, I'm going to try to simplify my logs a little bit. So, I'm going to always print, let's do, this is so silly that I'm having to do this much debugging when everyone else has been like, this is so easy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a log prefix that's just going to help orient me. So I'm going to do format sprint f. This is a log. And then, or no, sorry, this is a turn. And specifically the turn is %s and %d. This is instruction distance. Actually, can't I implement a method on the instruction that, I guess I can, I don't, but let's not get distracted by that. I was gonna say, can't I implement a method that actually translate that how I want it to be translated? So I'm gonna do instruction.direction, instruction.distance, right? And then the log prefix never gets used. I still love this. Does anybody like my panic error? I love my panic error. Okay, so here what we're going to do is we're going to always log what turn we are. So we're just going to say format dot printf, and we're going to do format.printf, which is going to be %f, which is our log prefix. And then I just want to say 0 count ++. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, I also want to put that in the, I'm going to put that in here. So %s. By the way, leave the rage quitting for the 4th of December. Worse things are coming. I'm telling you, man, advent of code is going to get ugly around here. Oh, I need to add a new line, don't I? Yeah, things are going to get ugly on Steven's streams. I'm struggling with part 2, day 1. Although I think I shouldn't be. I think somehow I've. Oh, I also need to put that down here. I feel I shouldn't be. I feel like there's a very simple explanation, and it shouldn't be that difficult. So according to their example, which one am I counting that I shouldn't be? So L68 should be counted. L30 I don't even see that one on here. L82 should be counted. L99 should be counted. L1 shouldn't be counted. This one shouldn't be counted. So that's problematic. And L5 shouldn't be. So L1 and L5 shouldn't be counted. And I think both of those are because we're coming from a 0. Which is back to where we were just a second ago. But how are we getting into this logic? So how are we getting here then? So we're correcting the current value, right? So how's it possible that we're hitting this loop? We're turning left, but we're at 0. We shouldn't be in this loop. She was, dang, I'm the slowest. You're not the slowest, I'm the slowest. So we shouldn't be here. Am I crazy? But we shouldn't be here. Current value, yeah. So right now it says current value is -1. And it's also saying current value is -5. And the current value is what we're checking right here. Yeah, but we check d.value after we turn. So should we be checking this before we turn? Yeah, so if we're taking our turn from 0 and we're going left, no, that's the wrong. Yeah, the count. Yeah, 100%. 100% is the tricky part. Let me think about this for a second. So I know at least I've honed in on the problem turns. These are the problem turns. So right 48 and then L55. So I'm gonna hone in on those for a sec. I'm gonna hone in on those for a second. Let's go here. You are confusing starting position versus landing position before you move. Yes, I think that is at the heart of the problem that I'm having. Jonathas, I think is how you say your name. But thanks for subbing, man. Appreciate it. All right. So what do I want to do here? So I basically got a set of instructions, right? So let me give me a dial, or give me instructions, which is a slice of instructions. Yeah, a slice of these guys. And then we're gonna have instruction dot from line, which is going to be R48, and instruction from line. So we're going so R48 and then L5. So those are the two where we're getting a double count. So then we're gonna go results is equal to dial dot 0 count like this. But we obviously need our dial first. So we'll say dial equals dial dot from, because we need to be able to set the starting point. So if the dial is rotated L30, the point at 52. So this should start at 52 when we make our turn from 48. And we should, if results does not equal 1, we dot error F, you're done. Fucked up. So yeah, so we only expect 1. We're gonna get 2 though. You done fucked up. Wanted %D, but got %D. Wanted 1, but got result. All right, so we don't have dial.from, so let's go implement that really quick. This is should be super straightforward. All we're going to do here is we're just going to say, instead of value int, instead of this starting at 50, it's going to start at whatever value you pass in. Okay, and then we need to actually apply the instructions. So we'll say for I range over instructions dial.turn I like this to go test cmd 01 / dial. You done fucked up. You wanted 1 but got 2. So that's our problem case. Now let's try to hone in on well, I'm getting too many print statements. I'm getting too many log statements with that. So let's do run test. Okay. So we're counting 100 to 0, and we're counting -5 to 95. And we don't want to be counting here, because basically our preceding turn took us to 0, right? So we went from right to 0, and now we're moving off of 0. And it theoretically could happen in either direction. We're moving off of 0. So I think my logic or my intuition is telling me that if I'm already on 0 at the beginning of a move, I guess there's two things. It's either I shouldn't be counting I still think that's why the problem lies in the bounds of my loops. Because it's like on one side I'm counting and one side I'm not. And I wonder, would this maybe Renee was right all along. It's like we should be just using modulo and this would fix all that. It's very specific though. You are at 0 and moving left. Yeah, for right now, yeah. We just let's not you're right. Let's not confuse this. So we're at 0, we're moving left. So now the original thought was, I think Pablo, your original thought was, okay, we're moving left, and if d dot value equals 0 was d dot 0 count minus 1. That was the idea, to basically fight this, to counteract the problematic thing. But then if we use that same implementation on our input, we fail because we already tried 5, 8, 4, 9, and that was too low. Hello, 67 Alaska. How are you? Oh, wow, it's 7:03. Well, folks, this might have to wait because I gotta go do normal life stuff. At least I didn't cuss too much. I didn't slam my keyboard or anything like that. There was no rage quitting, but there also was no success. So we did not hit dirt today on part 2. So we're already behind on our schedule here. All right, guys. Well, first and foremost, Pablo, thanks for all your help. I appreciate you trying to unstick me from my stuck ability, from my lack of ability. And yeah, but it was fun. I'm still enjoying it, having fun. This is the nature of the beast. Steven rages in undercase. Yeah, basically, pretty much. All right. If you're new here and you want to come back and hang out again, you can find my schedule in the chat. I'm usually live from 4:15. Let me know how the tests go. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we get this figured out. Yeah. I'm usually live from 4:15 a.m. Central Standard to 7 a.m. Central Standard. So if you see me live, please feel free to drop on in. If you want to chat or hang out outside of Discord, maybe you want to join in our AOC private leaderboard, you can join our Discord, which the link has been in the chat for a while, but I just stuck it there one more time. And with that, I'm going to leave you, folks. We'll be back tomorrow to do more admin of code. Tomorrow we need to finish part 2 day 1, and then we need to solve day 2 part 1 in order to get back on schedule. So we'll see how that goes. Based on how day 1's going, I'm not hopeful. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday and have an even better Wednesday if I don't see you tomorrow morning. If it's already Wednesday for you, have a great Wednesday because time zones are weird. And I'll talk to y'all later. All right. Bye, guys. Bye. Bye, chat. Bye. See you guys.